Hey, guys, welcome back to Whiskey and Wolves. My name's Evan. That's Chris, of course. Hey, you guys know who we are. For those of you who don't know, I'm the master trainer at K-Pro Canine, and this dude is the lead trainer and owner over at Canine Coaching with Chris. One of the most awesome dog training programs really on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Where we're in a little bit of competition, but not really, because you do something that's different than what we do.
I do.
And so, while still being dog trainers, right? You know,
that's one of the things I like the most about this career is there's a million ways to do this. There's wrong ways to do it. But there's a whole lot of right ways that you can do it as well.
Yeah. So it's funny, like just off air just a moment ago, like I asked Chris a question that I felt like just deserved a little spotlight here real quick. And we're going to jump in and then we're going to go back and we're going to touch some of those normal things that we do whenever we start the show. But like, I wanted to catch this just in case like somebody else like has this question. Right. And so like, I've got kind of a little belief around this topic. Lots of dog trainers do. But the question that I had for Chris was, after about 3 weeks of holding someone else's dog with you, right? Like, how often do you feel like they switched ownership mentally?
And my response was, wow, what a great question, right?
Yeah.
Like what a great question. And we could probably, and may do this, have an entire episode on this idea.
Yeah.
Because I think it's in depth. Now, when you use the word ownership, I have to disagree with you slightly on there. I think you and I have talked about this. I think we were at a change point, a crossroads in our society where we're stopping looking at dogs as being owned, right? Yeah. And they're starting to be our companions.
Let me change that because I have another word.
But the point is still valid.
Yeah, I've got another word. Maybe this helps like draw this in a little bit, right? How often do you feel like the dog changes allegiance?
Yes. Okay. And like, again, this is a really cool and in-depth question. Now, what I'll start with, right? I went to this convention in San Francisco a couple years back, and it was the academic side. There's a giant academic side of dog training that's blowing up right now, right? You can go get a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or a doctorate in cynology, the study of dogs. Yeah. And so I went to this with the idea of maybe I'll go get my doctorate, right? It ended up not working out. But anyway, the thing that I came away with that the most was this idea that of dogs forming a relationship with humans.
Sure.
Right. And so anytime that you interact with a dog for a significant amount of time, you're going to form a relationship. Yeah. Right. And so one of the questions that we both get constantly is, my dog going to forget me? Is my dog going to be mad at me? Is my dog going to like miss me? All of these things. The answer is yes, they're going to miss you. Right. They do have that sense of loss. Yeah. But here's the cool thing. The science shows that the more humans that a dog like connects with and forms a relationship with, the bigger that part of the brain, the more that part of that brain grows. So the idea is, the end idea is, the more people that your dog forms a relationship with, the more people they can form a solid relationship with. So what I'm getting at is, when a dog comes into my home for 3 weeks and they form that really solid attachment, right? And I get attached to every dog that comes in. I got them on my body, right? But it's not taking away from the relationship that they have with their owners, if that owner does not give that relationship the same amount of depth and same amount of respect, there will be a dip. Right. They're not going. I see dogs, not all the time, but periodically, where the owner will call me and be like, hey, dog is doing this, dog is doing that, dog is doing this. And I'm sitting there and I'm listening. I'm like,
your dog
doesn't like you. How do I say this? Your dog doesn't like you, man. And that is one of the harder parts of our job, right? Is explaining that exact issue. Hey, man, your dog's not getting what they need or want from this relationship. Yes.
You're not fulfilling your dog, right? Like, your dog is not fulfilled in your relationship. It's like being in a relationship with a significant other as a human. And like, that person just has all different thoughts, feelings, goals attached to life, right? Like take it for what it is, man. Like, I wouldn't have married a girl who was like G6 or it's it, baby. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the answer. I've got different goals in life. You know what I mean? Different priorities, And so like, I think that sometimes like people get mispaired with their animals as well. And like, they just weren't ready.
I agree. That's one of the things I am most vocal about.
Yeah.
Know your breed.
Yeah.
Be honest with your lifestyle before you go get a dog.
Absolutely.
Look at yourself and be very honest about what your lifestyle is, not what you want your lifestyle to be.
Yep.
Right. Don't go out and get a Malinois like, oh, this is going to make me run. No, it's not. It's going to make your life a living hell.
Yep.
So be very honest with your lifestyle and what you want out of a dog before you go get that dog. To answer your question in a different way.
Yeah.
I take that responsibility.
Yeah.
Right. Very seriously.
Sure.
And I know you do as well. And I hope and think that most dog trainers do.
So we avoid it a lot.
You avoid the forming a solid relationship.
Yeah. I avoid like the shift of allegiance, right? Like in my program. That's why we never keep a dog longer than 2 weeks. We can build rapport with the dog. We can be the dog's friend. Right. But that's different than your caretaker, situation, right? Like that's different than, like it's kind of like, I'm not like, we show up like the Funkle. Yeah. Right. And not the parent.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so, and that's the goal, which is why like at K-Pro, we don't ever keep dogs longer than 2 weeks, because in some ways I think, and this is my personal take on it. Right. And the way that you do it, and now that I've known you so long that like I've watched you turn out great products, right? I'm like, all right, we've got to eventually have this conversation.
Yeah.
Because like I look at it and I'm like, dude, I don't want the dog to be stressed outside of my presence on the backside either. So like I worry that the stress of the shift, right? Like if I keep a dog too long, like there are trainers out there who keep a dog 6 weeks in a row.
I've had dogs for 5 to 7 weeks.
Right.
Not on purpose, but because of situations,
because it happens, right? Yeah. And like in those situations, I'm like, I think from the dog's perspective, they completely shift. I think their lack of permanence, like whenever they're not using those same like neurogenic pathways, like to like create that understanding of who their people are on like a more regular basis, I think like they lose their people at some point.
See, I disagree.
You're like,
I think
why we're here.
I disagree. I think that again, the science shows that the more what we talked about, I'm not going to repeat myself, but the science shows that they can form multiple relationships.
Yeah,
blah, blah,
that's
blah.
cool.
And the very first thing I do before I really start asking this dog to do too much, right? And when a dog comes in my house is I want them to trust me. I want them to want to do what I'm asking them to do. Yeah. And so that is relationship building. And that is like forming a bond of trust. Now I do like the idea. I love the fact that we are thinking about this, right? Yeah. And guys, if you're not watching on video, we don't even have whiskey in our glasses.
Not yet, man. So like we haven't even really started.
That's how you know this is
this got exciting.
This is exciting for us. Yeah. It shows that you care about what you're doing. Just the fact that you are thinking about that in your program, right? Yeah. But I don't think,
and especially across 14 trainers, man, it's like we've got
to implement that into each trainer to make sure that they are fulfilling your idea of what your business should be. Is one, it's difficult. To do properly, which you seem to do, but it's also very admirable. So thank you,
that, man, and also thank you for your input on this today. Because like I funny enough, man, like I'm always learning. Like we talk about how we're students of this thing lifelong. If you're a great trainer, guys, if you're watching me on video, I'm looking straight into the camera whenever I say this. And if you're an aspiring trainer, hear me say this. If you think one day you're just going to get it all figured out and that everything's settled science, you're out of your freaking mind. You should be a student from the time you start putting hands on dogs until you stop putting hands on dogs one day. You should be in a continuum of learning.
If you ever get to the point, Ted told us this all the time. My mentor in the military, Ted, he told us this all the time. If you ever get to a point where you think you're done learning, you need to leave the career.
Yep. Because like, dude, you're lost.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You've lost your way. All right. Hey, listen, guys, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, guys. And we're back. Hey, listen, just before the break, right? Like we were talking about this shift of allegiance, but like that wasn't actually the topic of the day. We just got like really excited about it.
We're going to talk more about that in a later episode.
I think so too.
We can absolutely talk about that for an hour.
I think so.
But we got a cool topic today.
We do, man. So like today we're gonna talk about e-collars and that kind of stuff. But before we get into that, guys, in true Whiskey and Wolves fashion, let's start out with that regular old buddy check, dude. You know, Chris, I'm buddy checking you, dude. How you been, man?
So you know this, but I'm gonna go with two of them because I don't want to start off on a negative foot. I'm very excited about the individuals I have working with me right now. I started this Department of Defense program called Skill Bridge.
Love that.
And so I have two individuals, one who's getting out of the Navy and one who's getting out of the Air Force, and they're interning with me for I think 3 months apiece. Nice. One of them is training dogs, and she's doing absolutely fantastic work.
Nice.
And then I have another one that's doing my social media.
Nice.
So for anybody that's, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, actually, I don't know if I'm on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. She's doing a lot of really cool work, and I'm actually getting more confident, talking about what we talk about, but from a business owner's perspective, and from a dog trainer's perspective.
I've been watching, dude. I like your stuff.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? I'm in there like, ooh.
And it's really, really, it's really cool. On the other side, things have been a little tough. Right. Yeah. Personally, the world is in a weird spot.
Yeah.
I think almost every veteran in America has some sort of feelings about what's happening.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's fair.
And it's been tough. But the reason I wanted to come over here today was to be around people that I love, be around people that I enjoy, be around people that make me smile and make me want to be a little better. I get to do my favorite thing, and I get to drink whiskey while we talk about dogs.
It could be worse, man. The whiskey helps.
And
they make shirts for that. So actually, dude, like since the last time that we sat together in podcasting, I actually learned that my mom's been diagnosed pretty heavily with a bulbar onset of ALS, and that's going to be a little life-changing for us around here for a while.
We're going to lose our studio.
We are going to lose our studio. She's going to be living in this room, man. But we're building a new studio, so like we're adjusting, we're moving. You know what I mean? And things are going to be all right. It's been weird, since I've shared that with a small group of folks.
Not a small group anymore.
Yeah, well, not anymore, right? But like, as I have like, some of the, man, are you going to be okay stuff? Is everything going to be all right? And some of the feedback I've gotten is like, I don't know exactly how to take it. It's like, man, I'm glad you're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, like I don't know what else to do but move mom in with us and kind of take care of her and just let her have the best portion of life that she can have over the next 2 to 4 years that she's been given. You know, like she's 66 years old. So, she's not a spring chicken, but she's not old either. I mean, like today, people are living into their mid to late 80s regularly. So like, it is a little cut short, I think. I'll tell you that the grief process and even just the coming to the full fruition of knowledge in my brain, left me with some heart palpitations for a couple of weeks and left me in a place where I was like, wow, that's a lot. And I didn't expect it. And, like people who are close to me know that, sometimes my mom and my relationship have been fraught over the years. And so, I really didn't expect it to kind of hit me as hard as it did, but it surely did. And not because of all the life changes I have to make, but because of the missed, the potential missed opportunity of continuing to grow up, like the realization that, she may not see my kid graduate from high school. You know what I mean? Like is kind of stark in its realization. You know what I mean? I was at least in my mid-20s kind of whenever my grandparents passed. Right. And so like they saw me grow up to be a full man, I think is the way that I felt about it, at least at the time. And the idea that won't happen, is a little disappointing, I think.
It is. That's tough.
That's fair,
I have two things to say. Yeah. Right. One, I think it's very special that you get an opportunity to spend some time with your mom, knowing
grateful for that.
Right. Yeah, right. I got about 6 days with my grandfather when I knew
when it was time. Yeah.
Yep. And I cherish that time. Second, I think it's very important that we share some of these tough things, right? Yeah. A buddy check is not tell me what's going good in your life.
No.
Right. A buddy check is how are you doing?
Yeah. Like what's going on?
Man? And I think it's important. Everyone is struggling.
Dude.
Everyone is facing a battle that you have no idea about.
and man, this thing like snuck up on me like an assassin, right? Like, I mean, seriously, I was trotting through life pretty happy. My last
you were pretty damn happy. Yeah, I remember the call.
Buddy checks, I was like, oh, shit,
life is perfect. Yep.
You know what I mean? And like right now, I'm like, actually, dude, that dude snuck up behind me whenever I wasn't paying attention and murked me in the dark. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh,
and life does that sometimes.
It does it, right? It just comes out of nowhere, you know? And it's funny, man. Like I don't know if like, you know, some of where I was 2 months ago, for instance, like was the universe in preparation for the hard things that I've got to do now, like, you know, reminding me that, hey, there is goodness and light in life, you know, and that not everything is suffering, even when we suffer heavily, you know, like I you know, take it for what it is, man. I'm sure that you had the same experience, like, you know, whenever you were kicking the sandbox, you know what I mean? But like, even in times where like, hey, you know, my life is in constant danger, there were places where like, I remember standing on the roof of the embassy and looking at the mountains, you know, outside of Kabul and thinking to myself, man, those are gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I even had, you know, even in the midst of all that, man, like I had the opportunity to witness some majesty. And that's one of the things I'm trying to remind myself right now as I'm walking through what is honestly like a really hard portion for me and what is going to be a challenge for my family to kind of cope with over the, you know, like, you know, some of the realizations are pretty stark that are going to happen here, you know, and that are going to happen here in our house with us, like with my family, right? Like, you know, we're going to have some honesty here that's going to be like the long side of life, you know what I mean? And so like, as I've been walking through that, man, like one of the things that has been helpful lately, and I actually have really been pushing into, and my, you know, Bayou Working Dog Club has been helpful for this, right? Because one of the places that I find majesty most readily available for me is in growth in dogs and in dogs in general, right? And so like, you know, having club out here on Sundays, you know, like with Working Dog Club where I'm decoying and, you know, I'm catching dogs and I'm watching dogs grow. You know, are some of the little places that remind me, man, that like majesty is real in life and that though life is fleeting, it's good. Yep. You know what I mean? And so, you know, like it's going to be interesting here over the next couple months. We might miss an episode or two, full disclosure, as we're rebuilding the studio and we're going through this transition. But the plan currently is that we won't. But you know, life happens sometimes. But man, I'm going to tell you straight up, like, you know, my buddy check this month is a little rougher than I wish it was. As is yours in some ways, right? And so like that's the way that it goes sometimes, man. But like the honesty is we do this for each other off air too, you know what I mean? We just wanted to make it a thing on air so that, you know, like people can know that like this is a healthy masculine coping mechanism that we use to like check in on each other and make sure that we're okay. And you know, for guys like us who have, you know, been the place we've been and seen the things that we've seen and walked the walks that we've walked, like it can be hard to reach out for help. You know, one of the things that I really appreciate you for, dude, is our ease in having each other's back on that stuff. Right. So, you know, that's the deal, guys. And, we want to wrap that one up. Yeah. Cause I'm ready for some whiskey. Dude.
I'm ready for some whiskey, but we gotta add Heather into here.
Heather, buddy check.
I don't want to get yelled at again.
Heather's our producer, guys. And she also is the main office administrator over at K-Pro Canine. And quietly, she's my wife.
And
author.
So,
and she's an author. Yeah. Published author, traditionally published is a big deal. Yeah. It's a big deal. And she's got a second book in the pipeline.
I can't wait. I'm not kidding. I ran through that book on an airplane, right? Yeah. Bawling my eyes out. I know they thought I was just.
I can't look at it, dude. I can't look at it, you know? So Heather, how's your buddy check, bro? Also a Navy veteran, that one.
Yes, also a Navy veteran of 20 years. And it is it's been a hard little while. Again, you know, quietly, your wife.
Yeah.
Quiet. Yeah. So also dealing with my mother-in-law.
Moving in.
Not just moving in, but finding out like, you know, that all of these things are happening. Right? Yeah. So a lot going on. And in addition to that, like you're gonna have your emotions and being the wife.
I'm gonna have some struggles.
That's a different struggle. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just like being a mom, our son is having his own feelings about it and trying to be, you know, respectful of those.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I was able to do the cover reveal this month of my new book that's coming out. And then also,
what's the name of that book?
The Scars Spell Anthea.
Scars Spell
Anthea. That's cool.
Right.
I want one of the first copies.
Anthea being the goddess of the swamp, bro.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
She's the goddess of swamps, flower wreaths, and human connection, like human love.
That's amazing.
And so I was like, oh, that's perfect. No wonder. Yeah. I heard about it down here. One of the crews down here have her as their with their name. And I was like, that's just perfect. And
lots of healing
that
out
brought
here,
us
man.
here. Yeah. Lots of healing there. But likewise, there's a lot going on in the world, and I don't want to super get into politics, but it's a very scary time to be a woman in childbearing years in this country right now. And so that's a lot of where my buddy stuff is coming from, where I'm just having some scares and some worries about it. I'm super glad that most of my time having kids is past.
I would say all of your time having kids is past as your husband. Okay. I'm just saying.
All of my time, most of my time.
If you're having kids, you're having them with somebody else, baby. I don't know.
Most of my time that I could possibly become.
Will you pour me some whiskey? Damn it.
Yeah. Look, hey, listen, guys. Today we decided to do a wild thing with whiskey, right? And it's not that wild because it's Elijah Craig. It's a good old standby. This is the Toasted Barrel, and Chris brought a rye as well. So we've got the Toasted Barrel bourbon from Elijah Craig, and we're going to give that one a shot. And then we're going to, for our second glass, man, we're going to pitch over to this rye. We're going to talk about the difference. Yeah. I think that's going to be good. But yeah, I'm down for a drink. Heather's already got her wine over there. We're rocking and rolling.
And Elijah Craig's a cool, price wise, it's not bad, right?
No, it's pretty
and it's a really
price,
solid whiskey for
a solid everyday deal.
Right.
That's what you're going
I have a hard time saying this is my everyday whiskey and not feeling like an alcoholic.
Yeah.
But call a spade a spade. It's a good everyday whiskey.
I mean, it's a good everyday whiskey. It's a hey man, I got done cutting the grass, wanted to sit out here and throw a steak on the grill and have a drink. It's a good buddy check whiskey. It's a good, hey man, my guy called me. He needs to stop by the house at 9 o'clock in the evening and, unload his day on me. You know what I mean? This is a good whiskey for that.
I've never had the toasted one though. So
cheers. Now I'm here for it. Yeah. Oh, initially, man, it smells really nice.
So not to go negative, but this one's a little more like what I would call harsh, but not harsher than some of the other ones we've had. We've had some really fantastic ones.
I would say, we've had some really nice ones. I would say that the smoke is what stands out to me in that one. And being a toasted barrel, I get that. I get a little bit more smoky bouquet in there.
I get it from the smell for sure.
Yeah, get a little more smoky bouquet in there. This one almost makes me want to put, because I'm not a big smoke fan. This one almost wants me to go grab my whiskey grail, that little wooden cup that's got the char in it, and pour that in there so that it pulls some of it out a little bit. Because I think sometimes for me, the smoke becomes a little overpowering in the experience. You know what I mean? So
after a break, we're going to have to do that because now I'm super curious.
Oh yeah. We can do that after break.
Yeah. And look, I'm not saying I dislike this by any means.
No, I think it's tasty.
That's delicious.
Right. I think it's tasty. I don't think it's my regular fare. Just like both things today actually are not my regular choices, right? So I usually steer away from a rye. So I'll be really curious how Elijah Craig's rye is because they usually make a nice product across the board.
See, that's interesting because I've started going to, when I go to bars or when I go to restaurants, I've started talking to bartenders about the whiskey and their opinions, and every one of them recommends a rye. So
the thing about rye for me is that there's a lot more spices in there, right? And sometimes those spices just kind of overpower the experience of the caramel and the corn and the flavor that naturally has.
We get to see today.
Yeah, I'm here for it, man. And if everything sucks, man, that bottle of Johnny Walker Blue's sitting there, you know what I mean? Yep. So we'll figure it out. But guys, what we have for you today that I'm actually really, really excited to talk about, because this is one of the most controversial topics in dog training. And whenever I say controversial, I mean there are people that are lobbying to get this tool outlawed. There are people that are on the other side of that going, man, if you take this tool away from us, people are going to be massively unsafe all over the streets of America. I mean, it's crazy. Some of our European countries have already kind of outlawed this tool. Some of them are actually we really, really like this tool. And then like other developed nations as well that aren't European, like Australia really likes this tool. You know what I mean? There are places where, you know, like this is really, really common.
It's a hot topic.
And as it turns out, we've got one with us today called the e-collar, right? So like, you know, a lot of people will call this a shock collar. Some people call it an electronic collar. Let's start here, man. Where do you fall down on the use of this thing, man? How does this work out at Canine Coaching with Chris?
Yeah. So I you're correct. Like this tool is massively divided. Mm-hmm. There are, like you said it beautifully. There are a side that's trying to get it literally outlawed.
Yeah.
And then there's a side that's literally all they use.
Right.
Is when a dog comes into their program, they put the e-collar on them and that's how they train them.
Off leash canine, mm-hmm. right? Like, you know, they've got the massive nationwide franchise that is predicated on this tool.
And some of the trainers that actually follow on Instagram and on TikTok and stuff, some of the trainers that actually really respect and like and learn some stuff from are using e-collars.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's a tool, just like all tools, is a tool that if it's used properly can be a means of communication, right? Yeah. If it's used properly. How does it fall into the Canine Coaching with Chris program? I don't really use them, mainly because I think they're a little more complicated for people to use when they already have a whole lot of other stuff going on. That's really the only reason I don't use them.
Sure.
I think they're a fantastic tool. But for me personally, excuse me, if I'm going to use one, I'm going to use it as a secondary means of communication. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is I'm going to do my initial training first. I'm going to know that dog understands what I'm asking of it. We're going to have a relationship. We're going to have a means of communication. And then I'm going to transfer from using words to using the beep or a light stimulation, stim in replace of like the word here, right?
Gotcha.
And I think the idea is solid in the sense that that you can associate a tone or a physical sensation the exact same way you can associate a word, right?
So like for me, right, like whenever we discuss cues, for instance, right, like cues are any word, gesture, or phrase that we use to communicate an expectation of the dog, right? Like dogs don't have value to our vocality, right? Like dogs don't have value to the verbiage that we use. They have no value for that, right? So like using Pavlovian tone, right? Like is just another possibility, just like a whistle, just like anything else. I'm with you. Go ahead.
And so, and to continue that, I really don't ever really recommend these tools unless you're trying to work off leash. Specifically, if you want, like say you like out here, right? You've got a lot of land out here.
Sure.
If you've got 20 acres and you want your dog to be able to have that freedom to roam that place, but still reach out and talk to them, this is fantastic.
This is beautiful, right?
But the problem I have with it, and I'm positive you get this call because I get it all the time.
All the time, yeah.
Right. He's like, well, my dog wasn't listening, so I got a shock collar and I put it on him. I just started zapping him. Wrong. You're wrong. Okay.
Bro, you're so wrong.
That is a way that the e-collars have been used in the past, even by trainers.
Yeah, right? But we call it a no button situation.
Wrong.
Man. It's not great.
Don't put an e-collar on your dog and just start shocking them. They're not going to understand. Start with the basics, form a level of understanding, and then start teaching them, not training, teaching them what you want using a tone or a short stem, a small stem, to, like you said, cue, rather than saying, hey dog, look at me, tap the tone button.
So that's an interesting idea. And here's what I'm going to say is like, I think that we do things differently in this realm, which is great because like dog training is difference, right? Like everywhere we go. Right. So like, from my perspective, like most everybody in my company reads like, and guys, look this up. Like he's a fantastic trainer. He's out there. His name's Larry Crone. He writes a book on e-collars,
love Larry Crone.
And Larry Crone's a fantastic dude, man. He calls out a lot of the injustice in the industry. He's a great advocate for dogs. I really respect the guy. I think he's really good. It's why we put his e-collar book in our apprenticeship program at K-Pro. And you know, one of the things that we're looking at there is we're looking at that low stem e-collar stuff, like finding that working level where the dog can acknowledge what's going on, and then conditioning behavior around that stem is like massively important. However, there's another big influencer in the industry whenever it comes to e-collars that I kind of also super agree with, man. And this guy's name's Justin Rigney, right? So like Justin has a couple of different places where like he'll still use an escape and avoidant method, which would be a punitive punishment, right? for certain behaviors, right? But the way that he acclimates dogs to e-collar is also something that when I can, I influence, like I give that influence into training, right? And that's like, hey, you know, before we ever touch the e-collar, before we ever put the remote in our hands, right? We put that collar on the dog and let him ride around with it for like a couple weeks, so that just the presence of the gear doesn't create stress in the dog, right? And that allows us to where, like, for instance, the thing that I'm thinking of that's the Justin Rigney, you know, TikTok video, the sound bite that I've seen 85,000 times whenever he's talking about this, right? Is like the dog that is legitimately stealing a sandwich in your kitchen every time you turn your back, right? Literally, your dog's in your kitchen with you, you make a ham sandwich, you set it on your plate, you turn around to grab a drink out of the fridge across the kitchen, you turn around and your dog's eating your sandwich, right? Like, that dog needs a boundary there, and like, you can yell at it, chase it, but like the reward's too high. The reward's too high. They keep coming back over and over again, right? So he uses this idea of creating an intense one-time association that's a negative association to the sandwich, right? So like, he puts the e-collar on the dog, he lets him run around with it for a couple of weeks, right? He sets up a camera, right, in his kitchen, makes the same sandwich, puts it in the same place, right? Leaves. On his camera, right, he's watching the dog advance on the sandwich, right? And when the dog goes up to like just it's there, right? It's right when he's like over the sandwich, say right, like right there, he drops Thor's hammer on him out of the sky, right? Yeah. And the dog thinks the environment bit him. He thinks the sandwich bit him, right? And I think that that's also like a fairly valid, humane thing to do in that one place, in that one time, to solve this one high value problem, right? Because like, otherwise, what do you have? You have owners chasing dogs around over and over and over again, trying to scold them, you know, beat them up, you know, all kinds of stuff over a sandwich.
As a child, they called that the chancla.
The chancla. Get out of here with that noise. I married a Cuban girl. That's what I get. Like, my childhood. Okay. Yeah.
I've never heard of that. I've never seen it. Yeah. I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I obviously looking at that, someone looking at that and watching that, I'm like, oh, that's cruel.
So like he shows a video of the dog's outcome, right? And it's like, yeah, like that dog got Thor's hammer dropped on it from the sky, right? And that actually didn't even kill the versality of what he was doing with the rest of his low stem e-collar stuff.
Association to the one thing. Boom, yeah, no, absolutely.
Right. And like he had to do it twice. There was only 2 times that the dog experienced that very high and maybe piercing level of stem that did create some pain in the situation. But like, when you look at like the most humane treatment kind of metrics, right? Like, I think that there's an argument that could be made that like the most humane thing is the thing that works the fastest in some ways.
Yeah, I don't hate that idea. I really don't.
You know what I mean? Meanwhile, at K-Pro, like, most of what we do on e-collar isn't that. Like, we don't do a lot of B-mod with e-collar. Because that's behavior modification, very specifically, not obedience, right? A lot of our obedience, because, you know, we are, again, very cognizant of the dog's stress levels, and we're really trying to do the most humane thing possible. We're finding a very low level of stem to work the dog on. You know, like, out of a possible 100 on this particular e-collar, my dog works at like a 5.
That's exactly where I was going to go. Let's talk about that real quick. This e-collar that we have right here, it's E-Technologies, which is probably the best brand out there.
I would say it's the most common brand in professional dog training today. You'll see some Garmin, you'll see some Dogtra, but like, these guys are making working gear for working trainers on a regular basis. And
but you're right. The stem level goes from 0 to 100. And again, a working level for me is usually I'm starting around 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Right? And we talked about this earlier. Like, you're going to test that on yourself every single time.
Yeah. I want to make sure that nothing's gone wrong with the electronics. Right. We know that electronics can get jostled and messed up. This particular e-collar, and this is one of the things that I like to point out sometimes whenever we're talking about this particular one is the one that I train my dog on, right? This is my e-collar. Yes, It has a pink cover on it because whenever I'm at club, nobody looks for the pink collar. You know, like I'm like, you guys
can be feminine. It's okay.
I'm good with it, right? But like, you know, like if I had a blue one, there's 5 guys that got blue ones. You know, if I got a black one, there's 8 guys that got black ones, right? Like mine's pink, and you can kiss my butt. You know what I mean? But you know, think about it this way too. This is the one that I put Phantom on when he was a puppy. This thing's 6.5 years old. Still delivers still delivers a consistent result. Still like that's whenever I'm like, hey, whenever we're talking about quality of electronics, we really want a quality piece of gear. I don't want to jump on Amazon and for $25 pull this thing that, you know, like looks like an e-collar, walks like an e-collar, talks like an e-collar, but does not deliver like an e-collar.
And Garmin is the only other brand I've ever tried, and it kind of shit out on me after about 1.5 years.
Sure. And like Garmin has like a more intense, and so like not all e-collars are made the same, right? So like they have a more intense and sharp stimulation, where e-collar technologies has that same kind of TENS like stimulation that you're going to use like at the chiropractor or on a sore muscle after running or something.
Yeah, this is not one of those things that you're going to put on your hand or on your neck, which we may do today.
And tap there's a yourself. Good chance I'm shocking
you're not gonna hurt yourself.
Nah. Right. And that's the thing, right? Is like, and you're not if it's painful, you're probably doing it wrong.
Right.
You know, but let's talk about the steps to get there, because I think that's really very important too. Like I don't throw these things. I'm gonna grab this remote while you answer this, but like I don't throw these things on puppies. I don't throw these things on dogs who don't know what they're doing, right? How important is it in your program for you to teach the dog all the behaviors that you want to see exhibited before you would look at this?
Yeah. So 2 points. I think what you said was perfect, right? The idea of putting this tool on them before and letting them get used to the sensation of having 2 little prongs around their neck is very important. Same thing with the prong collar. I don't know if we even mentioned that when we were talking about the prong collar. Same exact thing. I'm not going to put a prong collar on a dog and start using it right away. Let them get used to that sensation.
Right.
And I'll
reach in there, dude. Go ahead. Oh, that's got a rare earth magnet, dude. That's all right. You just threw it back on the ground. This is good. I like it. Now we both look dumb.
So if you can see, if y'all are watching, it's got 2 little prongs here.
Little nodes there, yeah.
And they can be not uncomfortable, but they can be something to adjust to, right? And so I think physically allowing your dog to get adjusted to this is a very good idea. But then also, like you mentioned, I think there's 2 ways to go about it. And I don't think either one of them are wrong if you're doing it properly. Sure. You can use this right out of the gate after they get an acclimation period. And you can use it as that cue, right? That you mentioned. Like instead of saying, hey dog, look at me, I want to tell you something, right? You just tap the little noise or the sensation, and the sensation will kind of make them do that little head flip. Like, whoa, what was that?
What was that?
And so in the idea there is you're getting their attention, right? You're taking them out of what they're in and saying, hey, I want to talk to you. Because one of the things that I tell people in every one of my lessons is dogs are watching us all the time.
Up top.
And if you don't know that, your dog is watching you all the time.
Constantly.
Even when they're not watching you, they're watching you. They are not, however, listening to you all the time, right? They are not vocal creatures in the same way that we are.
To the birds, man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And so when you, like I teach my dogs a 16-word vocabulary list, right? That's 16 words. They can learn, depending on the dog, upwards of 250.
Sure.
Right. And that's varied depending on the particular dog and the breed and all that stuff. But let's say 250 words. So I'm teaching them 16 words. I'm teaching them that, hey, when you hear this word,
here's your response.
You have an action to do. You have a job to do. But they're not always listening to us.
Sure.
And so you need that cue. You need to call their name, snap your fingers, clap your hands, whatever it is. This is a fantastic way to gently, if you're using it at a low stem, gently, hey, buddy, I want to talk to you. Pay attention to me. I've got a word that I'm going to say for you. Right. And that's a beautiful way to do that. The second way to do it is kind of what I talked about, right? Training them all the way through. Understanding, hey, here means stop whatever you're doing and come see me. Sit means put your cute little booty on the ground and stay there until I tell you to do something else. Right. And then I add this on top of it. Right. So and start, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I interrupted the main point of all of this is integrating the word. I'll use the word here, right? Some people use come.
Yep.
Some people use here, whatever it is. We're going to use here. So what I will do is after we have this relationship, after we have this level of understanding about our communication, then I'm going to start saying here at the exact same time I give them that little either beep or the little low stem.
Right.
And so they're going to start associating whatever that is with the word here.
Right.
Right. And so they become the same thing.
Yeah.
And so your dog already has the understanding that, oh, here means come see Chris because he has something awesome.
Yeah.
And if he continuously hears here and feels something or hears a beep at the exact same time, that association is going to double associate.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And then you can start leaving out the word here and just giving that tone or the stem. Right.
Yeah. I think you could do that.
It's successive approximation.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I think you're dead on it. I think you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so to me, those are the two positive ways, the two good ways to use this tool.
So one of the things that we do with this all the time at K-Pro, right? So like it's our last step in training, right? So like if somebody's like, hey man, I really like going hiking with my dog. I like going to the beach with my dog. I like having him off leash. Like I want off leash freedom. I want off leash availability. I want to be able to do things, where like I'm not just tethered to my dog, but like I've got kind of like a safety in place, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, we're getting
try another one.
Oh yeah, we got to bust that other one over. Hold on.
I don't trust myself.
I know. I got you. Anyway, but so like whenever we're talking about that, right? And we're looking at, like, hey, what do we do? What do we do then? Right. So again, right. Like funny enough, man, I can't believe I didn't actually know this about your program until Thank 2 seconds ago, but you have 16 cues that you go over. Are you kidding me? So do we. Right? Did
you really?
Yeah. So like in basic and intermediate, right? Like in basic, we do 9 different cues, and in intermediate we do 7, right? And then in advanced, we take all those cues, and we contextualize them to e-collar. We leave verbal in place, right? Because like I like the idea that basically what I'm doing with this is the same thing that I did whenever I taught the dog to play away from to play away from pressure on the leash, right? Like you do the same thing, right? Like you're like, hey, I teach the dog how to turn pressure off. And so what I use this for is I use this in place of whatever mechanical tool that I was using to apply pressure to the dog, right? Even that if that's a 2-inch flat buckle collar with like just a regular leash, right? Like a regular 4 to 6 foot flat leash, right? Like even if it's that kind of pressure that like I'm helping manipulate the dog through daily life with, I supplant that with this. But you do it after they have an understanding of what the game is, right? And again, right, here's where I was going, right, is we teach them everything they need to know. We proof those behaviors out, and then we use this to contextualize them into off-leash availability so that they're even more like solid, right? Like for instance, with a return to heel or a heel, right? Or a here, right? Like you want to recall, right? Like I can gas pedal a dog into that and make it
gas
really
pedal. What's that mean?
Yeah, that means I can make it really, really much faster and really much snappier, even using a super low level of stem, because like the dog's like, hey, as soon as I get there, I turn the stem off. Right. So we use continuous on this instead of nick often, so that like the same kind of pressure that the dog felt in say I'm using a prong collar or a slip lead or a star mark collar or a martingale or a regular collar, that same pressure that they felt around their neck that they learned to turn off, I'm contextualizing that over here, and I'm saying, hey, as soon as you get to me in a recall, stem goes away. Yep. As soon as you get to me in a return to heel, stem goes away. And I can use that button like a gas pedal to accelerate the dog into those behaviors even faster. Now, in the beginning, do you know what we still pair with this? The words that they already know. Not just that, but reward. Of course. I'm still going back to food on this whenever I'm articulating this into the dog's vocabulary. And that's a really good point. What you're talking about is continued education, right? Just like what we talked about with us as trainers. I'm giving them a doctorate. You're giving them a continued education, and you're continuing their learning and their training. And I think that's fantastic. One of my favorite things about my program is I offer week-long refresher courses, right? So if a dog comes in my program for 3 weeks, mom and dad get busy, they forget things. Try this. Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. That's okay. I'm okay to be interrupted for whiskey. So that's not as smoky, but do you feel that, like, do you taste that little bit of extra spices on the backside?
That's cool.
Right?
I'm glad we did this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Caramely.
Yeah.
Is what I'm.
And like with like almost like a little, like cinnamon, kind of like some nutmeg in there, maybe, you know what I mean?
And that's the
Something
rye. That's the Elijah
in.
Craig rye for those that aren't like seeing it. That's yummy. I actually like that one better than the toasted. And I thought it was going to be the opposite.
How about that?
But you might be right. It might be the smoke. Maybe I'm not a fan of smoke.
I don't think you are.
I gave up smoking in 2015.
Yeah.
Proud of myself.
Good for you.
What was I talking about?
You were talking about e-collars.
Oh, and giving your dog dog tricks. Yeah.
Yeah. And how you're teaching before you contextualize it.
Yeah. And if you're doing it properly, which you are, right? Which we are, your dog should be at a point where they understand the game. Yep. They understand what's in it for them. And they understand like, oh, this is a lot cooler when I listen. Yeah. Like training should be fun.
Should be fun.
Right? Training should be fun. And so
I'm using it as like a dopamine button.
Right. And so when you talk about, and you're correct, that is the third way to use this the proper way. Right. And I've done that before and I haven't in a long time. I actually forgot about it. But you're right. Giving them the opportunity to say, hey, you know how to turn this off, right? You're in control.
Yeah, you are.
You give your dog a level of control that I think that we may have a conversation about this one day too.
Yeah.
Right. Giving your dog a level of control and a level of like, hey, agency. Yes. Thank you. Is really important.
So my whole program, and I think that yours is too, but I don't know that you've ever articulated this way, right? My whole program is built around the idea of making the dog think that everything is his idea.
Yeah, within boundaries. Yeah. Yes, within boundaries. Absolutely.
It's like this is your idea. You generated it and I got to pay it.
Yeah. And what I think I say it in a different way, but the same thing is I want my dog to want to do what I'm asking them to do.
It's his idea.
Right? It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's his idea, right? Mm-hmm. It's like I'm manipulating the dog's psychology because like I've got opposable thumbs and he doesn't. Right? Like,
I told you we were scientists.
I know, right? So I'm manipulating the dog's behavior so much so that he thinks that all the things that I like or that I want in my life are totally his idea. Mm-hmm. They're like, dude, you want that? Of course you want that. It's my idea. Like, oh, you want this? Of course you want that. It's my idea. Right? Like everything. And it puts a dog in a place where they're constantly active, offering me behaviors that I love.
And constantly learning what it is that you want.
Yeah.
Now, I want to take a major pause here and talk about this. This is cool. Okay. Do you know how to get your dog to do what you want them to do all the time?
Hit me.
Enjoy your time with them.
Oh,
have fun.
Big surprise.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy. When you interact with your dog, use that as an excuse to be happy and to have fun.
Absolutely.
If you are enjoying and you're and within structure, right? I'm not talking about being happy and just giving your dog what they want.
We're not talking about pure id. You're not running down the beach naked with your dog.
I can still do that.
I mean, maybe you do. Yeah,
but having fun with your dog and making it fun for your dog and saying, look, this is the game we're playing, right?
Yeah.
There's rules. Right? There's rules to Monopoly. There's rules to Scrabble. You have to play with the rules. But if you do, oh boy, we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What's the one thing dogs want to do more than anything else?
Have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah.
So not only...
I want to come back as the dog, dude.
Oh yeah, I know I'm going to come back as a dog. Dude, I don't know what kind yet.
I think I come back as a Mal.
I'm sorry.
I'm kind of driving, bro.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm going to be a shepherd. I'm going to give up at like 6 years old. I'm like, nah, fuck you. My hips hurt. I ain't, nah.
Yeah, I'm with Steve.
That's too good, dude.
But he
said, I just quit, bro.
It shows why this relationship between dogs and humans is so vital and so long-standing and so important in that they give us an excuse to be happy.
So let me talk about this. Let me borrow this real quick. Let me talk about this because like, take it for what it is. Most e-collars are built kind of the same way. And I think this like dovetails really nicely into what we were just talking about, right? How do we use this piece of gear, right? Like there are at least 3 like palpable buttons on this that you're supposed to use.
Oh yeah, we haven't even gone into this,
right? Yeah, no, right? Like there are like 3 buttons on this effing thing, right? So like most people have no idea like what the buttons do, how they work out, right? Like I'm gonna run this down to like right here at P's working level. It's at a 6, right?
You want to turn me on?
Yeah,
that, got you.
Can I just say also, like most people don't completely understand electricity and the way that electricity and electronics work.
Oh, you know what? I can tap you in real quick on that if you like. By the way, guys, she was an electronic expert for, like 20 years in the Navy. Like whenever she talks about voltage and amperage, I pay attention.
And she's an author.
And she's sexy. Go ahead, honey. What is it?
So whenever it comes to electricity versus electronics, which obviously this employs both, and the way that it affects the body can be very different. So DC voltage, whenever you're getting shocked by DC, it's going to
contract.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. It's going to contract. You're going to be kind of stuck to whatever it is.
Right. If it's high DC voltage, right?
Sure. Just depending on the level plus the amperage, there's a lot of variables. The main thing is that DC is kind of that constant buzz. It's what they use in TINS machines. It's what they use in that.
Right.
That particular one. I understand that not all electronic collars use DC voltage.
That's true.
In their like stimulation. And that's part of the difference between where we get like the TINS like feeling versus like being shocked.
Being a sharp, like alternating current kind of an idea.
And even DC can feel sharp. Don't get me wrong. Because I'm pretty sure
based on the amperage,
I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure tasers are also DC.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Yeah, because they don't kill people.
We see what they do, right?
They lock mugs up and they eat floor,
like
right?
It locks up your body.
I've been tased. Yeah,
right. But AC
I was tased. Hold on. Disclaimer: I was tased in training,
in a training situation,
not on the street. For the record, go ahead.
AC electricity is the one that is more often fatal.
So hard not to laugh.
Not that DC can't be fatal, but AC is the one that's more often fatal. That's more often
It'll disrupt your heart. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Even at a low voltage, it can disrupt your heartbeat. Yes.
Yep.
So where AC/DC came from?
Yes,
dude.
It's 100%.
They're electricians.
Hell's bells.
Those dudes were electricians. They really were.
Were they really?
Yeah, they really were.
Huh.
Those dudes
learn something new every day.
Yeah, AC/DC, no joke, right? AC/DC were electricians whenever they started their band, and they named it AC/DC.
I just have this vision of that guy because he's got such a distinct voice.
Oh yeah,
doing electrical work, just singing to himself. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many times did you shock yourself, bud?
Yep. That's why your voice is so high, my dude. You know what I mean? All right. So check this out, right?
Yeah, so it's a different kind of stimulation. It's a different kind of voltage. It's a different kind of shock.
Absolutely.
Well, not voltage, but amperage. It's a different kind of shock. So the main difference being that DC being direct is going to just put electricity into you versus AC being alternating is going to put it in and take it out. And that's the part that makes it not the best description, don't get me wrong, but that's the part that makes it dangerous is it will reset your heartbeat.
Yeah.
And you could die even days later.
So like
from a solid
AEDs,
AC charge.
right? Like, the emergency, the defibrillators that you have on the wall, those are always going to be AC current because they're actually trying to force reset your heart, right?
Right.
Where DC current, like a low level of DC current, and which we're going to see today, right? Like you can hold on to that bad boy as long as you want, and it's not going to actually hurt your heart. You know what I mean?
I mean, often longer than you want to be holding it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, right? So anyway.
Hey, Heather here. This concludes part 1 of our episode on e-collars. Part 2 is out now on YouTube and everywhere podcasts can be found. So be sure to check that out. We have a lot more to say about them and a demo of Evan and Chris trying them out on themselves. Let us know in the comments what dog training questions you may have. And as always, thanks for listening and be sure to like and subscribe.